really want to learn a lot of things, especially softwares and programs and everything which is connected with video and photography. And I really want to think in color, and always I really believe that there are always creative solutions for every problem. Yeah. And also this tree, I chose it because I really believe and I'm attached with the nature. And all of my inspirations and energy and everything I'm really literally receiving from the trees. I don't know if it's crazy or not, but it's true.
Thank you, Zino, so much. I know that you have one special youngster to learn about now. It's Luca.
Yes, and I'm a father for 6 months.
Great. Yeah. Thank you, Zino. Okay, so next one is Maria. The last time I met Maria, it was a couple of years ago, but she's the same.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Maria. I'm here on behalf of the Serbian partner in this project, which is an organization called Center for Social Innovation Centrifuge. What can I say about myself? I am a teacher, I am a youth worker, volunteer, and I am a mom of 2 young girls. The older one is 3 years old and the younger one is 8 months old. So yes, I am a little bit sleep deprived these days. But other than that, what describes me, let me share the screen with you. Just a second. Can you see it? Yeah.
Yeah, now it's okay.
Okay, so lately in the news in Serbia, we have witnessed a lot of stories about animals being mistreated, even abused by even kids. So what's been in my mind lately is the fact that we as individuals have to be really aware of this. And this photo came across I came across this photo a couple of days ago, and yeah, it's really that simple. Not everyone is in the position to help animals, but everyone is in the position not to harm them. So that's been on my mind lately. That's it.
Super. Thank you, Maria.
Okay, let me just see how I can unshare the screen.
Just go to this stop sharing. I can, okay.
You can do that. What can I do? I just saw it. Thank you, thank you.
No problem, okay. Okay. So, who will be the next one? Okay.
I'll go next.
Great.
If you don't mind, I'll share my screen first.
Of course.
All right. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
All right. It's actually, I only got involved in the project yesterday. Thank you very much, Sino. So my name is Zakayo Wandolo. I am a colleague of Sino, as he said. And at Stamp Media, I am working around active citizenship by the youth. So we also submitted another project that has to do with the community radio as a way of empowering the youth to, you know, view their voices and be active in the democratic processes. So it was just logical that I be part of this project so that I can also, you know, pick your minds and maybe have inspiration for the project if it gets approved. Now, who am I? Why did I put these pictures together? They tell a little bit about myself. And Igor, I find it a very nice way of introducing yourself. So I'll start with, you see, there's a lot of sports in there. I am a sports fanatic. I have been doing sports since I was 11 years old. Back in Kenya, I was born in Kenya. I live in Belgium now. So running, I go running 2-3 times a week. I have done Taekwondo, martial arts, since that's the first sport I did, and football at the same time. So the sports defines me a lot. And on top of that, I also run a foundation that uses sports as a way of integrating newcomers, but also empowering especially those at-risk youths to be able to be active participants in the society. I'm also an activist, like you can see Fight for Your Rights. I am especially passionate about the integration of newcomers or ethnic minorities in their context. And that's something that I have been doing for a lot of years, especially in Belgium. If some of you know, Belgium has a very notorious reputation in its colonial past with King Leopold II. And that's something that I have been very passionate about and trying to, get the politicians to do something about. I'm also a youth worker. I think that's my calling. They always say, find your purpose in life. Youth work is my purpose. I have been a youth worker for the last 12 years. And like you can see, I try so many different things. I try to work with the youth on so many different things. First, it was youth house, youth club support. Now it's more around active citizenship. And I also use sports as a way of, activating the youth. So sports and youth work, I try to combine the two. But I also love traveling. I travel, but I am not the typical traveler, tourist, the top 5 tourist things to do in a country. No, I visit people. So people I meet in the Erasmus training for trainers, or when I am doing a project somewhere, then I go visit them. That way I always get to see the country or the culture from a different perspective. And of course, food. You say food and I will be there. I love
Unfortunately, through these online meetings, there's no possibility to provide foods, but you can provide for yourself, and we can have some coffee breaks and some treats.
But I will just stick every day. Every day is lunch and dinner, which next time if we meet, you will have to.
Great, thank you so much, Zakayo. Okay, Ivana.
Okay, hi from my side. I'm Ivana, I'm coming from North Macedonia, and I'm here representing Center for Intercultural Dialogue. My colleague Maria should have been here, but she's not feeling well, so I'm just replacing her for this day and tomorrow, I guess. So I will now share my screen to represent myself. I've been working with Center for Intercultural Dialogue for 3 years, and 3 years in a row I'm a youth worker. So we have this sweater, or as we can call it, how was it? Never mind. So you see it's a youth work for young people, and coffee in my hand, which usually I have it here, as you already saw me. I'm always drinking coffee. So it represents me because in these 3 years, every day I'm working with young people. And here in the group, there are 2 girls that I work with now 2 years in a row. So I'm proud of that. I'm proud of that. I've been running the SEED Academy for 2nd year around. So I guess I'm doing a good job with the youngsters. And this is my passion because it's good to see how kids from different ethnicities and coming from different parts of the city are together and working together, even if they don't understand their languages because they speak different languages. But together, when we are in the youth center, we can do more work together and we can achieve everything that we want. So I guess that with this project, we can achieve and reopen the multiculti radio. So I think that it's a good project, and I'm just crossing fingers for everyone to do the best. And I think that's it.
Thank you, Ivana, so much. I have a privilege working with Ivana on other projects, and I know how much she committed is, and she's going to be our intro speaker in the next session about digital youth radio, some intro part that she prepared together with Maria, who does not feel well to join us, but I'm sure that Maria will join us next week, and she's going to get better soon. Thank you, Ivana, so much. Maybe we could continue with Nenad.
Yes, we can. Just a second. How do I share this?
Just go down. You will see this down bar. green one, yep.
You see this?
Yeah, we see.
Okay, so that is actually something right now in this moment I'm striving for, because at the past few weeks, yeah, there were some exams at university. Also, I'm working, and I don't remember when I slept very well. And he's just only sleeping, only eating, and I think that is something really good. So that is something I'm striving for, but that is at the moment situation. So I hope it gets better. For the people around here, except people from Serbia, I only know Ivana, and I can't wait to meet all of you. Hope someday actually to be in real life, not this virtually, and that would be it.
Thank you, Nenad, so much. This looks like a dream job, to be this cat. Okay, cool. Thank you so much. Okay, Simona.
Right. Hi, everyone. Let me just share my screen. I hope you can see it.
Everything fine?
All right. So I did this photo yesterday, hoping that it will encompass my current daily life and sort of what I'm about. So I'm a university student, so most of my time goes to writing essays, or at least, procrastinating on writing essays. I love music a lot, so constantly there's some song playing in my head. I'm also a coffee addict. I'm starting to realize that I might have an issue with coffee. I like reading, and I binge watch a lot of shows. And I recently started volunteering, and I enjoy it so much, and I enjoy meeting other people and learning. And it's interesting to hear about different perspectives and lifestyles and cultures, and just work together to do something good for young people. So I'm happy to work with all of you.
Great. What are you studying?
I study international communication.
Nice. So, okay, Simona, if you want, you can help me with the music. So we have some working breaks or something. Please be free to put some music on.
Sure,
Thank you
no
so
problem.
much. Thank you and welcome. Okay, who's going to be the next one? Any volunteers? Okay, in that case, Shukran, okay.
Okay, so hi everyone. My name is Shukrane, and I know it's hard to pronounce it. You can call me Shuk. And first of all, I just wanted to appreciate the work Ivana is doing. I think I mentioned I'm from North Macedonia as well. I didn't knew that people are doing such a great work. And I am a teacher. I'm an English teacher, and this is my first time I'm doing this. I never did something like this, and I'm so excited. Don't mind me if I do anything. So I just want to share my screen. Okay.
No problem. Take your time.
So
Yeah.
can you see it?
I think in a second it's gonna appear. Yeah, now we can see.
Okay, so this is an inclusive classroom. And in Macedonia, there are a lot of inclusive schools, but not inclusive classrooms. So my goal as a teacher would be to teach in inclusive classroom, because as many of you maybe know that there are a lot of nationalities in Macedonia. So that will be my goal, to teach in a class like this. So
Great.
this is all.
Thank you so much and welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you, Shukran. Okay, Robin, if you please.
Hello, everyone. Currently, I'm working in Sydney class in Belgium as a coach for youngsters. We address all domains in life, but with a main focus on work. Well, to be honest, that has nothing to do with the image I made. When I can find, yes, here it is. Yes, there it is. At the moment, I'm stuck at home in quarantine. So for now, my home is the place I spend my time and work. So I made a composition of objects that I often see or use. It's the Mona Lisa from my bathroom, which makes me smile. The panda from my bedroom, which makes me smile as well. This morning I drank a lot of coffee, which made me kind of shaky. And but it also scared me a bit because I thought it to be a symptom of corona, but I don't think it is. Normally I do like walking, so now I'm just walking a lot around the house. Lately I found a new passion and massaging, which is nice. When I would go out outside, I would like to bike around. This is a photo of me and my grandmother biking in a duo bike. And then for the moment now, my biggest companion is the cat. So that's about it.
Thank you, Robin, so much. I can see some similarities to Nenad and to Simona regarding the coffee. Great, welcome. It's a pleasure having you here. Okay, now I'm trying to see Mihailo, yeah? Couple of people more.
Hello, guys. 20-year-old from Serbia. I'm Mihailo Ivkovic. I'm student of mechanical engineering. I have so many hobbies and passions, so I couldn't choose anything to show you through the picture. Let me just share my screen. I can't find it. Yes, you see this photo?
Yep.
That's what I'm all about. I'm chilling in the sunset with the music, and I like I said before, I couldn't choose anything to show you. I'm very passionate about sports, most likely NBA basketball, American NBA. So I stay up at night, all night long, to watch matches because of time zones. And now it's all over, so I'm getting my sleep better now. And I don't know anything much more to say. Like Nenad said, we were working on the same project last. I met Ivana. Hi, Ivana. And
everyone knows Ivana.
Everyone knows Ivana. And that's it. I didn't prepare anything much longer.
Thank you, Mihailo. If you're a Lakers fan, then you could be happy, but otherwise,
I'm not
so sure. You're not. Neither do me. Okay.
How do I close
I can do
okay,
this. Okay.
Thank you.
No problem. Thanks, Mihailo. Okay. Simona. Yep.
Hi, I'm Simona Mera. I'm from North Macedonia. Also, if any of you have a problem pronouncing my name, it's kind of long. You can just call me Sam. It's my nickname and everyone uses that. I'm also a volunteer from SID, and yeah, let me just share the screen. So I did kind of a mood board of all like my interests and hobbies and everything that I like. As you can see, I really love swimming and diving. I used to do competitive swimming for some time. I'm kind of on a break now. I also really love hiking and traveling, and one of my biggest things in my bucket list is going backpacking through Europe or Asia maybe someday. I put Rosalind Franklin here because she's one of my biggest inspirations and I really love her work. I included one of my favorite movies in here, which is Coraline. It's a horror animated movie and I would consider it as my comfort movie. I really love books, and also I included a picture of me during a club meeting that we have a club that I run in our city at the Multiculti Center. It's called Girl Up Club, and it's all about equality and empowerment, and we do lots of fun stuff there. I also put Born to Run in there, which is an annual event organized by SID, and where I volunteered this year, and it was so much fun. I really enjoyed it. And I also thought that it would be appropriate for the occasion to include my current favorite podcast, which is Science Versus. It's obviously a science podcast where they just take like different trends and opinions that are more trendy right now, and they just do more science research behind it and come out with the conclusion whether it's fake or real and all that. So yeah, I guess that's it.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. So you said we could call you Sammy, or yeah? Thank you. A couple of more people, Nicolina, and then Anna Maria. Okay.
Hi, my name is Nicolina. I am 20 years old and I study mathematics in Belgrade. So I'm going to share my screen. Okay, am I sharing it? Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so this photo has two of my passions, current ones. So photography is the first one because I took this photo, and then the other one is being a volunteer in Red Cross. I started volunteering in March this year, so when the pandemic started, I did courses in first aid. So I talked to people most of the time on the phone and gave away first psychological aid. Then I'm also part of the local anti-human trafficking team for Red Cross. But I think that the most fun part of being a volunteer in Red Cross is going out to the field. And this is the photo from when we were giving away food and hygiene product packages to Roma people. So yes, that's it.
Thank you, Nicolina, so much. Amazing, really nice story. Thank you and welcome you. Okay, Anna Maria, and then we have Emma and Mariana. Okay, Anna Maria.
Hello. Basically, my name is Anna Maria. You can call me Anna. You can call me Maria. It doesn't matter for me. I've been a volunteer in SID for quite some time now, I would say. Ivana is my friend, my colleague.
Of course, Ivana.
The first person I met from SID was Ivana, so it clears everything.
Believe me, the first person I met from SID was also Ivana. Not this one, but Ivana Davidovska. But also the first person I met from SID. Sorry, Anna Maria.
I will share my screen now, and yeah. You see, I'm a big fan of science. I would consider myself a mad scientist if I could. But I mean, I'm still young, I'm still in high school, we have the time, I have the time to study whatever I want, and I'm choosing science. I love neuroscience, and I'm planning to study neuroscience.
Wow. So great.
Wait, let me.
Okay, great. Thank you, Anna Maria. Or just
I did have another photo prepared, but it's not something I would share now.
Okay.
Since it's the first thing. I'm a big fan of music. I play the bass guitar, and I'm in love with coffee. And
Wow.
I think every time we go in SID or in Multiculti, me and Ivana are always the one making coffee and drinking coffee.
I guess it's a lot of coffee lovers. So we will see. To be honest, I'm more like a beer lover, but now we cannot go out so much. So okay, coffee is fine. Hello. We have Emma.
Hi everyone. Another coffee addict here, and also beer addict. So let me share my screen. Do you all see the photo?
Yeah.
So this is pretty much me. I love reading, and I'm always reading. I love to learn new stuff constantly. So my head is always in a book or on screen reading something. I'm also a graphic designer, and I do a lot of drawing. So it helps me with my creative processes and stuff. So I like a lot of fantasy and sci-fi, also history and stuff. So I always read, and that's it.
Thank you, Emma, so much. Okay, and last but not least, Mariana.
Hi everyone. Sorry, I'm using my phone, so it's not easy for me to share the screen. If it's okay, I'll just try to change the, okay, so yeah. So I can
Okay.
show you the photo. Oh, sorry. 1 second. All right, so this is the photo I chose. It was over a year ago. This was my team of volunteers, and we worked in the refugee camp in the north of Greece. And I really like this photo because it really shows the, and our team was, we had volunteers that were refugees, volunteers that were there for a long time, a very diverse group of people. And this is to show also, I went more than a year ago, but I continued getting involved in projects that capacitate refugees, and that's why I'm here, and I hope to learn things that can help them to share their voices. So that's it.
Thank you, Mariana.
I can stop sharing now.
Yeah, you can go back to stop sharing. Okay, thank you so much. So everyone can introduce themselves, yeah. So I think it wouldn't be fair that I not introduce myself. I will show. Hope that you see. So I made this on maybe on one of the last traveling the last travel that I had I think in January or beginning of February. I think it was in Brussels airport. So I was yeah, of course, with my hand luggage and some additional hand luggage that I always try to smuggle in a plane without paying additional fee for luggage, and my running shoes. So I see that some people are also into running. I'm a big fan in running, and I did a couple of marathons and here in Belgrade, but also when I travel around Europe, but also in the States and even in China. I did this race on Great Wall of China, so I'm super proud of doing marathons. I think it's one thing that shows first of all that you need to beat yourself and show endurance to yourself, and then to the rest of the world, but first of all to yourself. So it's a kind of, I'm long distance runner, not just in when I speak about running, but generally in life. So yeah, and so what I'm missing the most now, I'm running, but I'm missing them. I miss the running during the lockdown. It's very hard to run, but now it's okay. But I'm missing traveling, of course. It's something that really is a very important part of my personality, and now I'm pretty much stuck. Not just here in my city, which is nice, but it's good to travel, not to be stuck and to not to move to another places. So yeah, briefly, that's about me. Really nice to meet you. I think it seems that this is going to be a very nice group. We have a couple of things that I noticed, that people are some people are into sports, many into coffee. Everyone knows Ivana, so it's practically we have some things in common. We're going to work in the next 5 working days. So I think it's good thing to be. I mean, we are quite we are not small. We are a big group. I think 16 people. It's always good. It's always good to have a direct communication, and please make this group as a group that support each other. The people that support each other in learning process. People have different level of experiences, probably different expectations, about which we're gonna talk a little bit later. But I think it's important to, of course, to fulfill everything that is envisaged by the project, but also to learn something and to bring this with us when we finish with this project. Okay, project is important. It gives the framework. It gives many activities that we need to follow. But after all, we are people that are spending some time, and I think it's important to learn something new, something useful, something that you're going to bring with you, and that's going to enrich you as person, but also as a member of organizations, because many of you have shared that you are coming from organizations that also have different ongoing activities, and probably this youth radio and establishing youth radio, or thinking about how to use radio in reaching out to particularly vulnerable youth groups, I think is important why we are here, why we gather here. And I think it should be something that we can consider in next couple of days. So about today, very briefly about the agenda that we have. I think it's a good thing to maybe okay. So the first day, and you will see practically each day just for you to plan, because I know we have many other things. So each day we will work from 4 to 7 o'clock. We say Brussels time, Central European time, however, because we also have our friends from UK. So it's also important for them to notice this. So this is a couple of very basic, I wouldn't say rules, but some kind of intro about using Zoom. Most of you have used Zoom, but just in case, please keep your microphone off when you're not speaking. There is option also to share your comments, standings, whatever you want in chat. There is option you will see when you go to chat option there. You can send a chat either to the whole group or individually as a private chat to some of the people there. And there is option raise hand. If you go to these participants, you press participants button, you will see, so you go the share screen. So the two buttons on the left side, you will see these participants. When you click on this, there is option raise hand, and that will indicate me or any other person that's speaking in that moment that you're asking for a floor, and that is going to give you the floor. Then we are not so big groups, so also you can unmute yourself when you want to speak and tell what you want. So for today, we plan is getting to know each other, which we already did, and we get to know each other. After this, I will tell you a little bit, and Sino is going to help me about this objectives of the training course. I took them from the project proposal, but I think it's good to say these objectives in our own words and to be on the same page why we are here, what was before, and what is going to be after as a follow-up of this training course, so that this is not a one-off activity. I mean, it is, but it's a part of a project with a series of activities. So I think it's important for you to know what this training is all about, and also what is going to be after the training. We're going to speak about your expectations and what you personally can contribute. What you personally can contribute regarding the topic. I don't know, said I'm very much into production, into this and that, visual art and so on. Some of you said like, I have more experience in doing some activities on the ground, working with people and so on. So it's good to see what you personally expect on one hand, and on the other hand, what are your personal contributions to this group? Because as we said, it's important to be to enhance this group learning as well. And then in the second session, we're gonna speak, Ivana is gonna be here. It's gonna be our keynote speaker. We're gonna start in the second session with digital youth radio. Before that, we will speak a little bit more about youth work in general, what youth work means to you, some of your experiences from youth work. We're gonna tackle a bit intercultural dialogue. And then even I'm gonna introduce us with a digital youth radio, and we have opportunity to exchange some experiences regarding that. So more or less, this is the plan for today. We plan to finish by 7 o'clock. We have a short break between the sessions. We're gonna agree 10-15 minutes, so for you to have an opportunity to get a coffee, of course, or to have some rest, respond on emails and so on. I would kindly ask you to keep your cameras on. Of course, if you have something that you need to put it off, I mean, it's completely okay if you need to go to, to reply on some email, it's not a problem. Just to leave the meeting, come back, it's okay. But I mean, it's very hard to keep keep people's attention. And it's even harder when the cameras are off, when you're speaking with the machine, that no one is looking at you, and that it's not supportive at all, not just to meets, but also because all of you are going to present at some point something. So I think it's good to, as much as possible, to have your cameras on. And I have one remark. So probably some of you have noticed that this meeting is being recorded. So it's only for a matter of later reporting on this. Sino can explain maybe, but it's idea to make some kind of interesting footage from this, not just from this day, but from the whole 5 days, and to make kind of a video out of this, but more about GDPR and all of these regulations regarding this. I think Sino can at some point, maybe not you, of course he can if he wants, but maybe at some point just to refer on this. I think is also, I know it's formal, but it's important also to mention. I think it is. So Sino, do you want now, or you want to?
I just want to mention thank you for mentioning this, and thank you for your understanding, because when the project will be finished, we need to prove that we were there. There is only the participant list, and they ask us I asked what we need for proof. They say please be creative, because it's a chaos actually for everyone, this corona situation, especially for the national agency and for Erasmus Plus in general. So that's why I asked Igor, and good that you mentioned now. I will try to make like some intro movie that I will share also with you, and with your approval, I can use this. So I will make like 2-3 minutes intro video. I don't know exactly what now, but when I have all the materials, it will be like really briefly, 2-3 minutes or 5 minutes maximum, just to show the people that we are creatively busy.
No problem.
It's okay for everyone, actually.
Yeah, if anyone has any objection regarding these, please send it in written to Sino's email or to any of your coordinators, and let us know if you have any issue with this. And in that case, you will not be on that video while this video is going to be during the development of the video. The editors will try not to put you on that video in the final version, and you will have opportunity to see the final version before publishing. So please, if you have any objections regarding this, just write an email to any of us, to your coordinator, or to Sino directly. Okay. So do we have any other technical questions? Anything important about these lists?
Nothing I can come up now directly.
No problem.
I will raise a hand virtually.
Okay, no problem. Okay, okay, I prepared a couple of slides. I know the slides could be boring, so I really limited myself not to too many slides. But I think it's important in a couple of slides just to inform you about the whole project. So the name of the project is Youth on Air. So developing active participation, intercultural dialogue using online media. And we are speaking a lot about online media, but mostly we are focusing, as youth workers, we are focusing on social networks, social media. And now we are tackling youth radio. For me personally, it was very interesting that Marco asked me, okay, do we want to be moderator in a training course about youth radio? It was very interesting to me because I wasn't part of the project team in developing the project. It was very interesting that some of you, Maria and Sino and Marco, you're tackling, probably some other people, tackling this very interesting point, because I never thought about radio as a medium through youth, and well done, really. It's interesting and it's innovative. And it's up to us how we're going to use this. And of course, I think I can probably I share most of your standings about online activities and so on, that we would prefer to have this offline. But believe me, online activities also have some good aspects, not only the bad things. So idea is to try to think about some systems, some quality support to NGOs, here you can see this abbreviation CSOs, civic society organizations in youth field. So different youth organizations using digital radio as a main tool. So I think it's interesting to see how we could use digital radio for not just promotion of our activities, but also for doing some of our activities. And my question is why we are here. So why are we here? The main idea is to develop some kind of methodology, integrated, adaptable approach for using radio in making voices of young people heard. You know that when we speak about youth participation, usually in many places, in many societies, we don't have this kind of a high level of youth participation. For you that are much more into all of these, you know this, probably you know this Hart's model of participation. So different levels of participation. I don't want at this moment to emphasize this particularly, but I think it's important to see how some youth groups, and particularly disadvantaged youth groups, could be heard through radio as a medium. So it's interesting to see. And some people that is going to be your intro speakers have developed this toolkit. I don't know, have been shared with this, have this toolkit, no, okay. But they drafted the first version of the toolkit. And idea is now to fine tune this. So each session, so for example, Ivana is going to be our key speaker on the next session. She's going to present the chapter developed by her, Maria, and people from SID. There's going to be opportunity also to give the feedback to her and to see how this document could be even more improved. I went through the document, it's very well developed, but always could be improved from different aspects, from different perspectives, with some examples and so on. So idea is, okay, instead of just giving you the toolkit and presenting this, idea is to finalize it together. And that's why each session practically gonna follow the structure of the toolkit itself. And based on this structure, we will give the feedback to them. We will speak how this could be even more improved and how, to what extent you find it useful. Because this toolkit, the idea is not to have, some fancy publication you want to put on the wall, but the idea is to be useful. So when you take it for your organization, to open it and see what you want to apply and make it practical in your own case. So very briefly about the program. So we have 5 days. It's going to happen this month. We have tomorrow we're going to work again. Next week also we have two working days, and in 2 weeks we will have 1 more working day. So practically we have 2 sessions per day, 3 hours in total. Maybe sometime it's gonna take to stay a little bit longer, but we're gonna try to finish in this planned time slot. And it's gonna consist of inputs and workshops. So not gonna speak all the time one person. That's most important. We're gonna try not to be boring, but it's also up to you. Please be free to propose something, to to say, okay, at this moment we are tired. Can we have a break, 5-10 minutes? And then to continue, or to bring something that you want to present, want to share with us. I think it's also important to feel that you're completely free to propose the changes to the agenda. I like to say agenda is not our fortress, it's our guideline. So it's important to know to what direction we want to go, but it's not something that is written in stone that cannot be changed. That we said it's supposed to be like that and nothing could be changed. It was our plan, our estimation, what we thought when we developed it, what we thought that is going to be useful for you. But of course, you are the one who's supposed to say, hey, please change this, or give us more time for that, or do you have more examples on this, or we want to share this from our case because we thought it would be very useful for you as well. Maybe we haven't planned and so on. So please be open completely for this. I found this from toolkits. He said, did you know, it was interesting for me. I found this in a toolkit. More than 71.2 million adults in Europe use radio each month. 90% of adults are reach out practically monthly by radio. So a lot, but we see there's not, of course, we have this group of young people in this cohort of 1834. It depends from country to country. Usually it's up to 30, in some countries a bit, something 28, some countries, but generally it's up to 30. We see that radio is still on and it can be used for this. And once again, it's very interesting idea that we are tackling this. And the last slide in this series, and then Sino maybe can also jump in here. So after the training? So okay, we are building capacities. We're gonna tackle the toolkit. We're gonna give some proposals how to improve the toolkit and so on. But what about after the training course? So we are about, based on the project, we're about to make this series of 10 radio shows, and you have the title here. That is going to be produced by you as a testing tool for the approaches methodologies that you can find in the toolkit. So practically this training is going to be used mostly to get you familiarized with the toolkit, with the methods and approaches that you're going to put into practice through these shows. I very much believe in this learning by doing, don't believe that you can, it's same like driving a car. You cannot teach someone to drive a car before that person, sits behind the wheel and start to drive. You can explain, you can give the test, you can make videos, you can make, these traffic regulations tests, and you can do many things. But at some point, that person needs to sit behind the wheel and start to make mistakes. And of course, supervised by the instructor, but to do so. So I think this also was envisaged by this project after this training course, after the toolkit. So idea is to put this into practice, and we're going to put this into practice by you through making these radio shows that's going to be broadcasted. And it's interesting that most of you said that you want to really put this into practice in your organizations and to see how, for example, people from SEED, I know how important is this multiculti center. So to make this radio on it, I think it's interesting idea, and also can be upscale of this project and to see how this project could develop further. So I will stop. I know that this could be boring, the slides, blah, 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 speaking and so on. Maybe if Sino wants to add on something, if there is.
I just want to, thank you, Igor, for the short slides. I want to mention that there are 10 radio shows per country. Yeah? So not necessarily that you need to stack on this, but it would be great, like per country we are going to make, and not in mixed groups for the countries, because practically maybe it will be not impossible. It will be impossible. But we have enough time to that. So when the training will finish, I will be the participants. For example, now I'm speaking for the Belgian participants. We can arrange that and see who will be busy with what. And it's actually also can be the ideas and everything can be recorded, for example, in some media where I work. But it will be like after the training, just to mention that it will be 10 multiplied 4, so we will make 40 radio shows. And this around Europe in 60 minutes. It's like really general, so it can be like some European topic to be, but mostly we will try to go also throughout the interest from the youth. So what we think that it is really triggering the youth, or what is interesting for the youngsters. So this topic can be, it is broad. It's of course we can put it a lot of things instead.
Thanks, Ina, and also Maria, Ivana, please be free at any moment to jump in if something is important to be stressed out. So I think it's quite enough for the project, for the intro. More than this, of course, if someone is interested in more about the project, in more details and so on, please address to Sino and he will give you more details on this. But I think in this stage, just for you to know what he preceded, what is going to be as a follow-up of this, just to have, to have this flow in front of your eyes. And of course, there is going to be, during these 5 days, a lot of opportunity to go more into the project. Okay, So as I said at the beginning, I'm gonna ask you about your expectations and so on. And we're gonna try for some of you the tool that you already have used. And I also know that Ivana planned to use this tool in the second session today. So we call it Mentimeter. So it's good maybe just to test it, and then in the second session to everything goes smoothly. So I will share my screen, and then I'm gonna explain to rest of you. So this is kind of a test question. So please, you will see on the top of my screen, you will see this. Go to www.menti.com. So please, if you're using your computer for Zoom, maybe you can take your cell phone or just open a new tab in your computer, however you want, and just go to this address, menti.com, and Menti is going to ask you for some code, which you can see on my shared screen. I'm going to read it up. So 6322024, and then you will have access to the question that you also can see on my screen. Okay. So this is more like a test question, also to see how do you feel today, but it's also to see how the tool is working. At some point we're going to use this one, we're going to use some other tools, but this is so I see people mostly feeling great, which is very good. Gonna wait some more people. We have 11 people so far. They have responded, so just to wait a bit more. Thanks for asking, but please leave me alone. Also is okay to sound too. Okay. Okay. I will ask you now. So this is more like a test question, and to see how as I said, how the tool is working. And okay, the second question that I really want to ask you: what are your expectations from this training course? And try to be as concrete as possible, based on your personal expectations from your individual perspective, and also keeping in mind your organizational background as well. So please briefly, but tell us what are your expectations. I will be quiet from now on. Okay, 11 of you have answered, so let's wait a couple of 4 more minutes. Let's say 1 minute. 2 minutes. But okay, while we are waiting for people to finish on this, we can say, okay, there is, of course, new knowledge, to learn, to be inspired. It's interesting. And also please expect this inspiration. It hides here among all of us. So please be open for giving, but also for receiving feedback from each other. I think it's also important. Like some practical tools about making digital radio podcasts, how to prepare the structure. So particularly from tomorrow on, we're going to be even more practical. Let's say this is an intro day, but from tomorrow on, we're going to go much more into this practical aspect. We're going to start tomorrow with best practice examples, and to see how we can learn from that Maria prepares, and how we can learn from someone else's examples. And also you will be also able to share something from your countries, from your communities, that you would prefer to be said as a good practice example. And then we're going to start to speak about the structure, about how to plan the content, and so on. Okay, so we have to learn new ways to contribute as a youth worker. I think it's also important to see how we can personally contribute as a youth worker in some of our activities. Get to know more people who are into radio as a tool for working with youngsters. We're going to try to find also these contacts and some examples that could be useful for you as well. And one question is going to be the last question from my side in this Menti. It's going to be how are you able to contribute to this group learning? So what would be your personal contributions? You as individuals, you as Ivana, you as Maria, you as Nena, how you would contribute to this group? What kind of particular knowledge, competence, some small piece of competence that you know that you possess and they think that it's going to be useful for the group and the group learning. So please share with us. It's important also for all of us to know what we can use for this group learning. I'll give you a couple of minutes for this. Okay, so most of you have answered. So maybe it would be also good just to know all these anonymous, just to know not who wrote everything. I like this, my positivity, my humor also is good. About this more specific, audio recording and editing, who is someone who is into this? Maybe it's also good that people know who is, you can just say me or Sina, okay, you already said this. It's good also to know to whom we can address with this, and also to people in the group to know, and also off the sessions. This is not that we are making this learning atmosphere only during the session. Of course, people can approach to each other, but it's good to know the strongest points of each of you. Okay, working with the vulnerable groups, experience with online activism. I think it's interesting. Maybe someone who wrote this, the yellow. Okay, no one? Someone? Okay.
Yeah, it's me. Sorry, the mute button was being difficult.
No problem. No problem, no problem. Okay, nice. Thank you. I can do whatever is needed. Wow, I need this one. I can do whatever is needed. Great. I can help with technical stuff. Give my best to try to contribute to the story of the show, make it better if possible. I will contribute using my graph design skills. Who has graph design skills? Maybe it also would be very useful to know.
I read one about graphic design. I'm not a certified graphic designer, but I've done a fair amount of posters about SID, and I think they turned out pretty good. You can ask Ivana more about it.
Okay, of course, Ivana. Everything through Ivana, no problem. She's a manager. As a manager, okay. Cool. Planning creative ways, the active attention, experience. Okay, active listening, share ideas. Okay, it's nice. Yeah, also we heard about these refugees in Greece during this intro. Examples of good practices. I mean, a lot of stuff that could be done here. I will download this and share to you as well, so that you have opportunity to see each other's contributions, but also that you can address to some of you for some additional advices and support and so on. Okay, I will ask now, do we have anything else to be added, maybe Sino, or we can have a break now?
We can have a break, I'm sure.
Okay.
I said the project, expectations, this, and after the break.
Yeah. After the break, we're going to start with Ivana's presentation. We're going to speak a little bit about digital youth radio, generally about radio, but also as a media, but also we're going to speak about some of your, we're going to kind of map your communities regarding this and continue discussion. So I think it's going to be more practical. Thank you for your attention in this one. If there is no any questions, and I cannot, I can see, Shukran.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask for how many minutes do we have a break?
Yeah, that was my next sentence. Okay, is it okay to have 15 minutes of break? So 15. So we're gonna start at 5:35. So 15 minutes break, have some coffee, have some rest. Don't look in computer, rest your eyes. And we're gonna start in, so 5:35 with Ivana's presentation. Thank you and see you soon. Recording back and okay, so I think we can start easily, and the rest of the people are gonna join us. Maria told me that she will be back with us after a while, so we can continue. I'm letting Mariana in. Okay, so even I think we can start with your presentation, and then we'll have more discussion on this. So Ivana.
Thank you, Igor. So firstly, I'm gonna ask you to again use your mobiles or open a new tab and use Mentimeter. We already saw that all of you know how to use Mentimeter and you're familiar with it. So I'm gonna share a screen where you can find the digits that you need to put so you can answer. We can answer. I have like 3 questions for you guys. So the first question is only radio. What comes first on your mind? What pop up in your mind when you see the word radio? I will give you like a couple of minutes you can answer. And the digits are, let me just read them for you, 42, 47, 97, 7. So you have the digits here up. So we have music, voice, tool, media. Information. Advertisements. A lot of them. Interesting facts, dialogues, audio-based entertainment, interviews. I think I read all of them until now. Antenna, podcast, media, tape. Okay. Car. So I think we're there 12 because Mariette's not here. Yeah.
I think so. It's everyone is there.
Yeah. So we have, as you can see, interesting things, and I like the car fact because mostly these days people are listening the radio only in cars. I mean the FM and AM, but the digital one we can use while we're using our computers. Okay, so it's interesting to see that music is mostly while we're putting on the radio. Usually I do it for that. So we go to the next one. My question for you guys is, how often do you listen to the radio? Do you listen to the radio like me, only in car? But I usually walk. I don't drive car yet. I still don't have it. Ooh, never. Okay, so as we see, only one person never listens to radio. I'm not gonna ask who that is. So for my mistake, we have a statement 4 that's not an answer, sorry. And then we have like it's closed with sometimes and often. So it's a good thing that you guys are listening to radio because the topic of this project and of this training is youth on air. So it's a good thing that we know that you're listening, in some ways you're listening to the radio. And the third question, which is going to be related with the presentation you're going to make, is a few values and principles which should be followed by those who work in radio. I'm not going to explain more the question because in the presentation I'm going to talk more about it. I just want to see your points of view, what principles and values they should have. It's nice to see that all of you are like following it, and I can see that you have previous knowledge about it because of what you are typing right now on Mentimeter. So I'm not going to read all of them because later on, as I said, so I'm not saying it double times. I'm not going to read all of them because, again, in the presentation, we're going to talk more about them. But yes, they are all of these things that you wrote here, that you're seeing on the Mentimeter. So I'm going to start with the presentation. And if you have any questions, please just unmute yourself and stop me so I can know where to continue or to stop if you have more questions. Okay, so we're talking about the youth radio. And firstly, I'm going to start with a little bit of the beginning of the radio. So the first radio transmission was in 1895. That was transmitted by Guillermo Marconi in America, I think. But the first broadcasting that involved music and speaking was in 1906. That happened in America. The radio was used back in the days, was the quickest, reliable, and the most important device for getting news, and that's why it was mostly used in World War I and World War II, and helped a lot of people to get informed by the situations in their countries, by the situations in different countries. Regarding the management of the radios, they were different around the world, according to their field of activity and their terms. They were managed differently. Because of the.
Ivana, sorry for interruption, and because we are still we can see only your Menti.
Okay.
It's still a Menti that we can see. Maybe just I saw that you already started with the presentation.
Share it.
Yeah. Sorry
can
for
you
interruption.
See it now?
Still no. Or it's maybe only to me. Huh? If the rest can see now something is happening, I think it's yeah, now it's going to be fine. Just put the whole screen.
Yeah. Is it better?
Now it's great.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
No
Thank
problem.
you. So in different countries, the management of the radio was different. And then depended on the structural function in those societies and the political structures in the countries. America and England were the pioneers of two different broadcasting systems. Macronail model was based upon the advertisements and based on sponsors, and it was created in America. When the community model, which was based upon license fee, was created in England. This was just like a short information. Maybe it's not that much important for this part, but just like an intro. What is radio? I think that this picture is all familiar to all of you because you learned it in physics in primary or maybe secondary school when you were. So radio is the technology of signaling and communication using radio waves. I'm not going to get deep into this. I don't like physics. So just like a creative way of seeing how the signal gets from the people who are sending it to the people who are receiving it. So it's a coded message that needs to be uncoded so the person can get it. And you have here a transmitter, you have electromagnetic waves, and then a transducer so the signal can get to us. Types of radio broadcasting here. It's more about the frequencies. We have an AM frequency that you already know, FM frequency, digital radio that we are going to talk about more here in this presentation, and then a satellite radio. So like a short kind of definition for what is a digital radio, you can find more, but I put this one, that the digital radio is a transmission, a reception of sound, process into pattern of numbers of digits. So that's why we say a digital radio. So here, I think that the interesting part about the digital youth radio is how to create one. I know that in some of your countries, there is already a digital radio, or maybe some of you are planning to form a digital youth radio. So familiarity with the journalistic practices, gaining a continuity to work, creative freedom, effective management of youth workers, and their ability to influence changes are important steps that we have to think of while creating or having a digital youth radio. Management is very important for a successful radio. Why is management important for creating youth radio? Is because we need to know who is having which task and responsibilities for forming this radio. So for example, if there is someone who has a recognizable voice, they're going to do the announcement on the radio. If another one is going to lead the discussions on the radio, then the third person can be in charge of the music. As Igor said, that one of you can be in charge for the coffee breaks for the music. Then we have a fourth one who can manage the networks, and somebody who can manage the technology. Not maybe we can pay a person to manage the technology, the computers that we use, the softwares, but maybe one of the volunteers in the youth centers or volunteers in your organization can follow that and manage them. Igor, did you want to say something?
No, I just wanted to ask you, but you responded on this. So because we are coming from small organizations, don't have not enough funds, not enough people for to hire. We cannot hire experts for everything. But you said just okay, some volunteers can jump in and support you with something. I think that's why it's important. As I ask you about these personal contributions that you can contribute to this group, I know that you also ask your volunteers in organizations how they could contribute to your current and future activities. And as Ivana said, for sure, there is someone who is more into this IT stuff that can support you with this. So great, Ivana, for emphasizing this.
Yeah, exactly. Like you said in the previous question that they had on Mentimeter, like we need to know what kind of skills the volunteers have and where they can do and what they can implement exactly. Because if we put somebody to do the, I don't know, advertisement and they are not into it, then it's not going to have the feeling that they are doing something that they like. But if they are doing something that they like, for example, putting, I don't know, the music, making the playlist about it, and they are into it, maybe they will do it more with passion and with love, and that will go in a better flow for them, and the listeners will notice that. That's why I said it's very important. The management is very important for creating a digital youth radio. Also, while creating the digital youth radio, we need to see about the legality. That I can say in Balkans doesn't count that much, but okay, yeah, we need to think about it. So radios can be found as analog and digital. More precisely, radios are of limited and unlimited resources, and we know that internet is unlimited resource with the ability to provide server and broadcasting radio signals. Media should be free, and they can be consistent only in the same way that the private citizens are consistent by laws and the governing issuing them. So here about the legality, we can also say that, for example, if we want to have music, because here it follows also, if for nonprofit radios, if we want to have music on our radio and we are a nonprofit organization, a nonprofit radio, we need to pay for copyrights for that music. So we need to have money and budget so we can have music on our radio. Also for nonprofit radios, it's a special category and has special rules. Here it means that we have to empathize and know what kind of program we want to share, what is the target group that we want to engage, and is that the need that the community wants to see? Is the radio going to help to the youngsters and the young people, but also to the elderly people, because this radio is going to be listened from everyone. Yes, we are making it for one target group, but doesn't mean that somebody else that is out of that target group is not going to listen to the radio. Maybe they will be engaged because we have something interesting for them too. Also, nonprofit radios, they can broadcast commercials because we are not normal radio. So we are not in competitions with the radios who get paid about these commercials. So a nonprofit radio needs to take care of that. We can't share commercials about, I don't know, snacks or drinks or something like that. So if we want to form a nonprofit radio, as previously I mentioned, we need to think about the management. we need to think about how are we going to divide the tasks in the organization for forming the radio. We need to think about the rules that we have. We need to think about the things, like if we want music, we need to pay for a license, and we can't broadcast commercials. Those are very important things. I think that I'm not going to go too deep in these topics, but if you have questions, you can just come up with them, because if I just talk, I know that you won't listen. These presentations are always boring. So the next one is journalistic standards. Here we can mention the ones that you put in the third question on Mentimeter. So the radio is a medium, and it's very information, and world has called and effect. Information provided to the listeners affects events, people, and their perception of practical issue. Therefore, it's necessary the presenters, the people who work in the radio, to have ethic values, or the journalists call it the code of ethics. And here we can say that they need to have, while they're presenting the news, they need to be truthfulness, they need to be honest, they need to be objective, they need to speak in fairness, then they are impartial, and they need to be careful of the topics and how they are explaining things. Also here, what I would also like to add, that it's not here on this slide or in the Mentimeter, is that they need to be careful of, and then they need to have a limitation of harm. If it's armed conflict, if it's a crime victim, they're not sharing names of the persons involved in those kind of conflicts that they were involved. Also, name of minors. They can't, the people who are working in the radio, the people who are presenting the news, they can't tell the name of those people who are involved in this kind of activities. Also, they should be objective, and they should work work for the people and share information for the people, and not take sides while they are presenting the news. Also, they should not have and gain personal interest while sharing those news. So it's very important, this code of ethics. It has many more things to be added, like every single thing that's showed on Mentimeter comes here. And I think that this is the most important thing while somebody's presenting something. But also this is important while you're having, like here we are having a online training, we are having a workshop. It is important to see how people are feeling and not to offend somebody, to think about not discriminating someone, or to not to share stereotypes. And it's very important for making everybody feel comfortable. So if the radio follows all these rules that I stated before, the radio is going to be, let's say, popular, but people are going to want to listen and to hear the stuff, to hear about the thematic maybe workshops that you're going to put online. So they are going to be engaged, and they will like to listen to you, because you are following the rules, but not really following the rules, because you're thinking outside the box and making something creative for the audience. Then it comes to the technology and equipment. If we want to form a digital radio, then we need to think about how and what do we need to form it. So we need an isolated room with acoustics. We need a computer, mixer, microphone. We need a stable internet, which we need also for this training. There's many applications that we can use about broadcasting music or something. So here I stated one, it's Shoutcast. Maybe you can check it out and see if you like. Also, you have various programs for jingles for the radio. And then you need to have a hard disk or database on cloud system, because everything you work on, you need a big memory, so you can just take care of all the things, save those things, because you will need them again for something, or you need to, because we are a non-formal organization, we need to report it to someone. So it's a good thing to have somewhere to store these things. Then what is the youth involvement in this radio? So the concept youth for youth requires proactivity, engagement, and continuity. So if we want this radio to be recognizable to the youth, so we need to follow the current trends. For example, here I'm going to share just like out of this, I'm gonna work on training, and we did we did professions. The kids so they need to guess the professions, and they didn't get too good to the normal professions that we do. And later on, I thought like, okay, if I wrote YouTuber, if I wrote influencer, if I wrote like something like famous people do, like TikTok or something, maybe they would engage more, because this is a current trend that the young people are into it. So maybe here, for doing it on the radio, also we need to think about current trends, what the youngsters want to listen, what kind of music they want to hear, what kind of topics they want to be involved. Also, we need to integrate young people from different ethnic groups, religious and social backgrounds. So if this radio needs to have like, here in this sentence, I recognize the Youth Center Multiculti, because it's with different kind of ethnic, religion and social backgrounds. So we need to engage people with different kind of activities, different kind of debates, and engage all of them together to listen to the broadcasts. We have to pass on the knowledge from one person to another person, for peer to peer. And then we need to think about media literacy. Program and contents, as I previously said, we need to have the program and content depend on the mission of the medium, and the format, the target audience, as I mentioned, and what wants to influence to the public and to the young listeners. Themes and shows are defended through the themes and the shows that we want to broadcast. Usually, we would like them to be educational, informative, and entertaining program. So here I just put some examples, like the radio should have like interviews, short news stories, thematic shows, database, radio players, and etc. And that is shortly. So if somebody has questions, maybe I was too short, but I know that the presentation, they can be boring.
Thank you, Ivana, for this presentation. I think it's always is good maybe to have some questions or something, or sharing some experiences regarding this. It was an intro part. I know that that it's you know, a lot of details, but it's a kind of a start to thinking about intro, about radio as a media that can be used for tackling youth issues, challenges, and so on. So anything that you want to ask Ivana?
Don't worry, I will be here until 7 and tomorrow again.
Ivana will be here.
Or you can text me.
Always. Thank you, Ivana, so much for preparing this and for putting all this stuff in this 20 minutes presentation. I know it's very challenging to say as much as needed, but at the same time to keep it brief as possible. So, okay.
Thank you also for the attention.
Yep. And okay, so I think it's a good time a little bit to make kind of a community mapping regarding radio. Ivana mentioned in her presentation youth radio, different programs for youth as well, and the non-profit radio, which is also interesting. That was mentioned there. So I will ask you. So don't worry, no more slides. Just a group discussion. So I will split you into 3 groups, and I'm going to try to make mixed groups. So people from not people from different countries. So general topic, but you do not need to be to oblige only on this one, but it's more like a trigger question. When it comes to using radio for giving voice to youth, what is the current situation in your communities, your countries, and so on? So let's say general kind of mapping what is going on in our countries, in our societies, when we speak about youth on one side and radio on the other side. So I put here like upsides, downsides to see like a different aspects. You can make a print screen of these, of course, it's not very hard to remember. So let's I will split you into 3 groups. So each group is going to consist 6 people, 5-6 people from different countries, for different communities. And yeah, try to give some, let's say in the next 15-20 minutes, we will see. I will jump from one room to another, so to see how the discussion is going, but let's say 15 minutes. And please, I want to ask in each group someone to take some small notes that is going to inform us about the key findings, not necessarily the conclusion, but just to list the key findings from the group discussion. So is it clear what we're supposed to do? Any questions? I don't see any raised hand. Okay, I will stop sharing this. And okay, you will have this invitation to join the group. So please join the group. And in a couple of minutes, a couple of seconds, people are going to start to disappear from the plenary group. Ti ako, jesi tu? Ili si se samo zamrzla? Okay, let's wait other people to come back. I think everyone is here. So welcome back to a plenary session. This practically is going to be the last part of our session for today. It's interesting. So be aware that we can see what are you writing on a chat. It's also interesting when you speak the native language. So yeah, this is going to be the last part of this training day. And we now are about to present briefly what was happening in the groups. So not necessarily in conclusions, it's more like an overview and what kind of similarities, differences you have encountered while discussing in the group about what is the current situation about youth and giving voice to young people through radio. So I would kindly ask maybe group any group number one that was consisted of Anna Maria, Mariana, Maria, Nenad, and Simona. Maybe some from the group briefly to introduce us, and then I can open the floor for the rest of people to comment, maybe to say about their findings and so on. So anyone from the group number one?
I was the one who took notes, so I will. Basically, we had a really nice discussion and we compared different situations with different countries. For Macedonia, we said that we don't really have that many NGO radios. And that's the truth. And kids aren't really interested. Well, not interested. They aren't really educated in, are there radio shows? Or in Serbia, same as well. There aren't many NGOs, maybe some from Belgrade, but we don't know about them, which means that they should have better advertisements. They should introduce radio shows to kids or to schools. And Mariana said that she has worked on a radio program about like refugee radio, and she is working with people from a lot of countries, and it's not easy to focus and work with one region because many refugees come from different countries. Overall, the main key points that I have is better advertisement and introduce radio to young kids.
Okay, thank you, Anna Maria. It's interesting maybe to use this, you said about Mariana and Mariana's experience in refugee radio. Maybe it's also, Mariana, if you...
Sorry, can I interrupt? Because maybe I wasn't, I didn't explain well. Because we don't have a refugee radio.
Okay, that's how I wanted to ask, yeah.
Yeah, what we have is a project. It's called Raising Voices. and it's part of Europe Must Act. So it's a movement all across Europe. And what I was trying to explain is we've been collecting texts and lots of stories from refugees in Greece, but also in other places for the last 6 months. And what we would like to do now is try to transform this to have more continuity with the project, because we also have videos of refugees, a lot of media content, but because also we need to protect them, and it's always a bit of a struggle. If we are showing videos, we can't really protect the identity of the refugees. So it's always been a concern in the group to find a way. So now we would like to learn, and that's why I'm here, to learn how to make a refugee radio. I just gave an example because actually refugee radio is a thing, and they share they also use podcasts.
Podcast, yeah. But
yeah, so
just
to
yeah, so thank you for this elaboration and so on. But I will use the opportunity to ask you more questions, because I think it's a very interesting topic, and definitely speaking about one vulnerable group that many projects are about. So I would ask you, what would be, let's say that we are now, all of us are now dealing with this challenge, how to, how to establish a refugee radio, or to have more programs related to this group. So what do you see as a, first of all, I want to ask you many questions, but this one, the first one, this is for you, but also for the whole group. So what would be the objectives you would like to achieve through establishing these kind of, let's say, refugee radio, or radio more open, more oriented to the topics that are interesting to them? What kind of objectives you would personally like to achieve? And once again, it's not just for Mariana, it's a question for everyone, but Mariana can start with.
So our goal is always in our group was always to establish a bridge between different communities. So it's of course focused on the refugees sharing their voice and their story, but it was always to this idea of proximity of so we know that many people across Europe. That's why I said it's really not a small project. It's more like not a regional thing, like not located where I am, but more to find ways to share these stories, make them available to people also outside our bubble, because I work with a lot of volunteers that are really interested in this particular topic, but we want refugees to have a way to communicate with Europeans. So I don't know if that explains a bit our objective.
Yeah, to me it is, yeah. And also want to ask you the rest of the group, because, okay, in Mariana's case, they're dealing with this target group as a, and thank you for this, sharing this. Let's get out from this bubble of the, like-minded people, that we are constantly going through the circle of like-minded people that are sharing more or less the similar system of values, that are accepting differences, that we are very much committed to intercultural dialogue and so on. But to be honest, we are, in many cases, we are minority, and that's why it's important to spread out this and to go as much as possible. And maybe the radio can be one of the tools to go beyond this and to go and to tackle, to reach out to more young people that maybe at this moment, I wouldn't say they are not sharing our system of values. I mean, it's very difficult to define that, but to be more aware of different perspectives of problems and issues that this group, for example, the refugees, are facing with, and so on. And I will just to pass the ball to toss the ball to some other. This is not, as I said, not a question for Mariana, but I think it's all of you are dealing with different kind of, I mean, it's a project language, target groups, vulnerable groups, but you're dealing with different groups of young people within your activities. So I would ask you, how do you perceive youth radio as a tool to reach out to them? So anyone wants to, please just unmute yourself, or So I know, for example, I know in SEED, I'm working a lot with SEED even before for many years. I know this how much they're trying to build this ethnic dialogue between two big ethnic groups there. I know how they're important for them as well. How do you see, for example, youth radio for that? I didn't even also mention multicultural radio. It's their ongoing project for many years practically, about fostering this interactive dialogue. So anyone maybe wants to share how you in your organization see this as a tool to reach out to young people. But once again, try to avoid this project language as much as possible, and to see, like, in practical words, how we can use radio to reach out to these groups. Anyone has an idea?
Well, yeah. Well, actually, I think that before we make it even radio for someone to listen to, because it is a youth radio, I think we have to start with some music. You know, I don't believe that many people will just go on and listen to some show on some unknown radio at that point, just because somebody told them. I think it's a long road to get there. So I think that we must firstly, how to say that, to make some audience for our radio, but to be neutral, and then to maybe slide some of those stuff that we want to do, because I'm not so sure that probably I won't even, you know, somebody tells me, yeah, you know, tonight you have some radio show about something, and I would like, okay, maybe I will listen to, but you know, first thing comes up for me, I will probably skip it. So I think that it is not going to be right at the moment. I think we have to get to that point where somebody will actually come to listen to our show too. So maybe, I don't know, play some fancy new music that everybody likes, but you know, not too many, you know, not so bad music. So maybe to get some party music on weekends, blah blah blah. So at one point we can actually, I mean, that's just my opinion, not from the group. So I think that.
Of course, I was asking for your personal opinion. Thank you, Nan, for this very much. So your idea is, first of all, we need to position somehow, so to be recognized, and then easily to involve this kind of a content. Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Anyone else? Maria.
Just, I'd like to build on what Nana just said. Youth radio essentially is a type of community radio. So if you want to make a youth radio, you have to first make a community around this radio. So maybe it could be a good idea. I'm speaking from my point of view, living in a small town where youth work and generally non-formal education and NGOs and the NGO scene is really not that something that young people are not that familiar with at all. Maybe we can get into high schools, for example, and start revealing the power that radio has there. Maybe try building some high school radio communities that young people can feel like really getting involved in, and then start building communities there that can reach out to, that can be used to reach out to more youth in general.
Yeah, I think it's a great observation what you said about when we speak about community radio. First of all, we need to create a community around some topic, around some issue, around some challenge, or around some group, and then based on it to have the radio. I think it's a very, very good point for this. Okay, good. Anyone else before we move on to the next group? Okay, thank you, group number one, and thank you, Anna Maria, for sharing and taking this role of reporter. Okay, group number two, that was a group consisted of Emma, Ivana, Matthias, Shukran, and Zakayo.
Well, I took the notes, so I'll just get you to go through them with you. So Matthias mentioned something that in Greece, of course, to do with the refugee camps, where they have limited access to internet, and it is, like you've said, Igor, it's a target group that is mostly not heard, and they face a lot of challenges. especially in raising their voices. So Matthias' observation was that radio would seem to be one of the perfect medium, which is simple to implement and also easier to use for them in the case of anonymity, because that's also an issue, to guarantee their anonymity. And then Emma mentioned something about also about the anonymity that radio has in as opposed to videos, because mostly people say videos, you know, it really talks to people more directly and stuff like that. But in the context of refugees, for example, who still don't know what the authorities may do with them, anonymity is very important. So radio is there a good tool. And also, not only for refugees, but also for the youth, especially on sensitive issues or taboos, for example, mental issues. A youth who has suicidal thoughts is not going to talk on video, or not most will do that. So radio offers a better option. And then Shukran and Ivana also mentioned the importance of taking into account ethnicity, especially in a multicultural setup. And they also mentioned that radio is used a lot, but there is no radio where the youth are the main target or are featured or are running the show. There was one apparently, but it stopped, and maybe it would be time to relaunch it. And one of the challenges they mentioned, well, it can be a challenge, but it's also an advantage, is that you have to have your in bilingual presentations. So you have to have both languages, which practically may be a challenge, but at the same time, you will be reaching both the target groups at the same time. And then in Belgium, I don't really have experience in radio, especially community radio or online radio. So I cannot give you what the context really is, but I remember one case years ago when I was still a youth worker supporting youth clubs. And the issue was there was an ethnic minority youth group that wanted to start their own radio, online radio, and there was some opposition from the policymakers because it's a more right-wing run municipality. And as you can, I think most of you are aware, they always find something to raise the barriers for ethnic minority. So that was our findings.
Thank you so much. I think very, very interesting things. And it's interesting that you cover also different aspects in comparison to the first group. So it's also good that you mentioned a couple of things. I really like this about anonymity, and as a one aspect that radio offers. And you said about some sensitive issues about mental health. I think a couple of days ago we had this global mental health day, and yeah, it's in some countries, in some societies, it's still a bit taboo speaking openly about that. Also, I can say I'm coming from a country that is very, you know, it's close-minded about something such as LGBT rights. So on one hand, we have a openly gay person as a prime minister, which was a huge news a couple of years ago when she was appointed to that position. On the other hand, still, I mean, the things are moving in a good direction. I think slowly, but they're moving. But this can be discussed, of course. But yeah, I agree. Maybe radio can be something that will, you know, offer first-person stories about something that people are more willing to share in some radio than in through some, you know, video clips or video broadcasting or however. I think it was a very, very good point that I also have found similar to my country and the situation here about discussing these topics. But I want to open a floor to rest of the group. Any questions for this group, or something that you found similar or different in your groups about what we heard here from Zakayo? So when we speak about this radio and giving the voice to young people, how do you see these topics that Zakayo mentioned that could be covered through radio, interethnic dialogue, let's say these taboo topics and so on? I mean, of course, these topics are different from country to country, from society to from community to community, but probably there is no community that doesn't face with some of these topics. They're different, but for sure they are, and the pattern is probably pretty much the same. So any experiences or thoughts regarding this? What do you say?
Well, I'll just a little bit intervention. This is not specific to radio or online radio or something, but this is just something that I implement every time I have a group of youths. Like Maria mentioned, it's about creating a community, yeah? And within the community, you create some sub-communities. So for example, if in a larger group of youth, what I've always done is I will look for the ones who are brave enough to be able to speak about those taboo issues within the community, yeah? And mostly it triggers the others who are less bold to also start talking about these issues as well. Mm-hmm. So it's like role models. Yeah, we all need role models, but also in this case, you need those ones who dare to take the first step, and they maybe create a chain reaction.
Yeah, great. But I want to add on this and to ask you maybe what makes us to create a community? What pushes us in a direction to create community around something? When I say community, I don't mean only this community like a neighborhood we're living and so on, but what makes us to start creating community around something? What is kind of an incentive that each of us, because all of us are belonging to some community, maybe two of us are belonging to runners community, and you know how strong this community is. You know how strong the people, some crazy people that are running, you know, around the city. They're different by so many aspects, but there is one thing that makes them a group, makes them a community. So this can be a passion, of course. What else could be kind of a drive to make a community around something? What do you say?
May I speak?
Yeah, of course, of course.
Another thing that really drives people to creating a community is sharing the same struggles, because they, while sharing the same struggles and the same issues, they work together and stronger to aiming a better change, something to become better. And that's how they get together, like work together for something better for their community, by sharing the same struggles.
For sure, Sammy, thank you. Anything else? Okay, we have same struggles, we have some passion that we care about something.
I think it's the idea. I think because if we can find enough reason for something to follow, we will follow. So, and maybe you can be, I don't know, marathon runner, I can be, I don't know, doesn't matter, but if we have the same idea, yeah, if we have the same idea about something, I think we can actually work together. But if we don't, maybe we can be even more similar about something. You know, maybe we can be both marathon runners, but don't have the same final idea about some project, and maybe we will just divide ourselves back there at some point. So I think it's one of those stuff. So.
Yeah, for sure, I agree fully. But just to go even more and to ask you, okay, now we're thinking about this community. Okay, what makes a group of people a community? and to see, now we are speaking about radio, and let's say that now, let's say Sino now has a, you know, money, has the resources, has everything to give us to, you know, to launch a radio. So let's say, how would you personally, Nenad, how would you personally, so let's pretend that we can buy anything that we need from the equipment, from the, you know, experts to help us. So everything is set. We just need, you know, to make a bank transfer.
Okay,
In
so
which direction you would go?
okay, let's say the final idea is to have a radio. So in my free time, I'm actually doing something with audio design and production. So let's say from my angle, I will find something, I will get a chance to do something I like, you know. I said Mariana, I think she wants to help the refugees buy the radio, so she can get her angle from she can get her stuff from that angle. Somebody else wants to, I don't know, just to have something, but in the end our final idea is actually to get a radio. But it's even better to say if our radio can actually mean something. So, you know, maybe I just don't want to get involved in this because I just want to because of technical difficulties and to improve myself with audio production. But also in the end, I also do want to help, as we said, about I don't know, refugee situation or something like that. So maybe maybe our transparent idea, something that, you know, shines, is radio, but I think there is something even more behind that, that it's just not as transparent as radio, but actually maybe radio could be just our way to get to there.
So if I can make a, like a, what you said is kind of a briefly, it was the radio is not objective by itself. It's not our what we want to do by itself. The radio is just a mean how to, you know,
yes,
something to achieve something that we are striving to. So
that, maybe that is something that binds us all together from all these different aspects. But in the end, I think that there is even more from that. So just have to find our ways, and radio might be the way just to, you know, combine us.
If I may, Igor, I'll just build on what Nenad just mentioned, and also touch on your previous question. Why do we form communities? I think at the end of the day, everyone wants to belong somewhere. And that can be just in your friends group or in a bigger community, in a bigger commune. But there is always that thing that brings you together. And like Nenad said, I totally agree with that. It is about the higher purpose. Radio is just a means, but a means to what? Is it a means, are we saying like, okay, our vision or mission is to give a voice to the unheard, and that means we can identify some of them, refugees, ethnic minorities, people in poverty, and stuff like that. That's the higher purpose, and that is, like you said, the bricks that will then form the community.
Thanks, Akayo, so much. Great, guys. Thank you for this. And we have one more group to hear. So it was like the last group number 3, consisted of Mihailo, Nikolina, Robin, Semi, and Sinisha. So anyone from this group briefly to inform us, and we're going to easily wrap up this session and this working day.
I took the notes from my group, so I guess I will speak on behalf of it. So one thing that we all agreed on, no matter if you're coming from a developing country or an already developed country, there are not much radios that the youth have the power to speak over issues and anything like that. But one thing that we all also agreed on is that we prefer to use other platforms to speak up about, and such as Instagram. And also another thing that Mihail mentioned and Nikolina is that we prefer when we view things visually, such as live streams and those podcasts that are already like published on YouTube, because we can see the people. And I don't know if it's more like a subconscious thing or whatever, but it turns out that we are more attracted to the live streams or the podcast or even radio when it's visually and we can see the people speaking. But yeah, we also saw that radio is kind of considered more old-fashioned these days, and that we prefer when we get our information faster and we don't have to wait till a certain hour to wait for that radio to start and speak about whatever it has to speak. So yeah, I guess this would be like a short overview of what we talked, but if anyone else from my group has to add something.
Thank you, Sam, for this. I think it's very interesting, and also you covered another aspect of using radio in transmitting some important messages to different target group, different groups of young people. It was very interesting to hear that. So, but from your kind of this brief report or this minutes from your discussion in your group. So there is one question: how radio is gonna how radio, first of all, how the radio has survived all after so many changes in communication models. That's one thing. And the second thing, how it will, I mean, not beat this kind of visual media which you mentioned, but how will compete with this kind of media in the coming days? I can see Shukran raised the hand.
Yes, I mean, I think that the main point is how to raise the voice of radio, because we know that young people do not listen much to the radio, so we need a clue to attract them to radio. I will go with what Maria said, like first start in a high school. And you know that young people, they like competition. So why not we make a competition of who is going to be the tonight's voice, I can say, and that will attract people, like their friends will tell their friends, just go on this time and listen to what this is going to say. So we need something to attract youngsters, because we already know that they use Instagram and visual things. So my point is to make something to attract young people.
Great, thank you, Shukran. Great point. Nenad and then Matthias. Finally,
I just want to answer your question about how did the radio survive and how will it beat all those ways of communication, because of simplicity. Because there is nothing you have to do, just push one button and you have it all. So I think that is the reason why we have it still and why we will it never die. So that's all I have to say.
Thanks, Nenad. Matthias.
Yeah, I think it survived because it evolved as well. You have podcasts who are more radio on demand, basically, just like you have with TV, which is turned into Netflix, and so that people have access to the content that they want to listen to when they want to. And then also, I think there's also just radio as a more broader concept than just radio in your car or the radio that you have in your kitchen. I think I've heard someone mention that you also have podcasts or radio shows on YouTube, and that there are so many channels, and also social media channels that offer opportunities for radio to reach an audience, or to also interact with an audience besides just broadcasts.
Great, thank you. Very good point. Simona, you raised the hand, or you're just stretching?
No, I raised the hand. Yeah, I was wanted to say about creating radio for young people. I think accessibility is important. So, they mentioned, for example, that we want to view something like visually, because I think we learn faster when we see pictures or video. So like when we create the radio for the young people, we should make it accessible. So we shouldn't just have, let's say it's an hour-long program and it's from 4 to 5. After that, we can, if we're making a digital radio, we can upload a video of the broadcasting program on YouTube, or use Spotify or a different way. So like if a high schooler wants to listen to the program and it's during their shift in school, then they can listen to it in their free time. And if we are going to aim for a high school students, I do believe that it would be really good if we let them run the show, because high schoolers have their own interests. And I mean, I was a high schooler a few years ago, so, and I don't remember what I liked. So like we change as we grow older. So I think letting them run the show will increase the audience, because they'll make it more relatable. They'll talk about issues that interest them, and you know, whether it's TikTok or YouTube or I don't know, whatever they're interested in. So I think it's important to let them pick the topics to talk about.
Of course, fully agree. Okay, anything else to be said on this question?
I wanted to add something as well, if
Of
I
course.
can. So there was another radio that Sinisa mentioned. He said that, so basically there's this famous radio in Macedonia called Radio MOV, and it's a youth radio, and apparently it was formed like 10 years ago. I did not know that, but right now it has gotten more and more famous, and the reason is that they are brutally honest, and they talk about every topic that is interesting to the teenagers, to the youth. And the reason that more adults don't really follow that is because it's considered kind of controversial at some extent. But the youth like that, and that's, I think, and that's what we should include more in radio and other platforms similar to that, is just being honest and not picking sides to sound more safe in a way.
Just to mention, this studio is actually student radio, and it's made by students. So the students, which are a lot in Skopje, they get to know directly, they were hooked on this radio. So it's one kind of a good trick, like you mentioned before, the high schools for sure, but the students, those are also the rebels, and a little bit more matured, and they can talk about these topics, but it was directly well known because all of the students, they knew it instantly, that this radio exists.
Yeah, which practically goes to what Simona said about this. Let people be involved. Let them run the show. Let them run the radio. Let them pick the topics and deliver the sessions and so on. Okay, guys. Just two more things before we conclude this session today. We prepared some very, very small, let's say, homework for tomorrow. It's not a homework, but it's more like things to think about it. And I will share with you also. Just it's gonna easier, and you can make a print screen. So please try to find some examples of, you know, youth radio, not-profit radio, any program related to youth on radio, if possible in your community, if not possible, could be globally, that you would like to share as a good practice example tomorrow. So first session tomorrow is going to be sharing good practice examples. Maria here, this is with us tonight, is going to be our intro speaker tomorrow. She will share a series of examples she has found, but also let's make it, you know, let's have it something to discuss and to see what we can pick from some of your examples. If you don't know now, spend some time, maybe this evening, tomorrow morning, just a little bit Google, and probably you can find something that you would like to use. Can be some article. You don't need to print any presentations to prepare. You can just a couple of points share with us, or if you want to share of their website or however. But it's going to be just an opportunity for us to be aware of more examples that we can take something from. And the second task, our expert for the second session, Tamara, asked you to record yourself reading a short text of your choice. It can be like 30 seconds, 1 minute, nothing too long, and listen to it afterwards. She will not ask you to share the recordings, but we'll talk about this with you. So she asked me to share this small task with you, and please make a print screen of these, but also we can share to coordinators of your organizations, or however call the people that are invited you for this training course. So is everything clear about this small tasks for tomorrow? No questions? Okay. I'm gonna just launch this poll, which is gonna ask you after every training day. I think it's important for us as well to track your satisfaction regarding what we have delivered to you. So very briefly about to what extent have you satisfied with today's training based on your expectations that you identified at the beginning. So we'll leave a couple of seconds more.
Igor, yes, maybe it's important to send me, for example, all the presentations and the Mentimeter that we have it, so I can send directly to the participants and
Yes.
also to the leaders, so the leaders will send and everybody will receive it.
Of course, no problem. I will share your poll results. So thank you. I think you're mostly satisfied with this, and we're going to try to be even more practical. It was the first day. I would like to thank you all for your participation. I want to thank thank to Ivana for her presentation and her input, and thank you, Ivana, for jumping in the last moment because your colleague Maria doesn't feel well. But send greetings to her. Hope that she's gonna get better soon. We're crossing fingers. And thank you for this. See you tomorrow at same time with two more, I hope, interesting sessions. And then we're gonna speak about our plans for the next week. So have a good Tino has something before I formally close.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No problem. No.
For you, especially now for the Belgian participants, but for the rest, if you have questions before the session starts, I mean, feel free to send an email or to contact.
Great, no problem. And always keep in mind that you can have this kind of a partners meeting before or after the sessions. If you need to discuss something practical, I can just make some of you hosts and I'm gonna leave the meeting and you can continue working on these practicalities that I know that in every project team is supposed to be discussed. Thank you so much. Have a nice evening. See you tomorrow. Ciao.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, everyone.